no, not me. We never lost control. You're face to face with the man who sold the world. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley and Andrew Richter coming at you for episode 51. No time like the present, you know what I mean?
Present is a gift.
Yeah.
So who sold the world, since I don't know?
I think in this episode it will be many of the mayors of the North Metro.
So they made a song about the mayors before the mayors did it?
Yeah, that's it. It's David Bowie speaking in all his prophetic greatness.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, he's okay.
Yeah.
Is he any relation to the guy who died at the Alamo? I wonder, Jim Bowie? Was that
I doubt it. I mean, well, who knows? You know, back through the family tree.
Somehow I'm related to Zachary Taylor, the 12th president.
Well, that's something.
He was down there
a
little after that. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he is. Jim and David Bowie, family reunion. Well, they're both dead. But still, family reunion somewhere.
Boy. Yeah.
It could be happening.
It could be.
And, you know, Jay, before we get into the subject here,
yeah,
it's not just mayors selling out their city.
Oh, no.
We got to add city staff to that as well.
Well, I mean, that's where a lot of this stuff comes from.
Yeah, but, you know, the mayors, I mean, you know, they can't do all of it for everybody. You know, they can't screw up a one-car parade by themselves.
No. I mean, you know, a lot of times the staff will say, hey, here's a great idea. And then everybody goes, yes, that is a great idea. And then, you know,
99% of the time, I think, how it works.
And by the time this comes out, I will have released a blog article. Yes, I actually wrote one. In that article, I said that I think that we need a bingo card for our podcasts, our blog entries, because there are certain things that no matter what the city, no matter what the issue, we seem to have the same things that get said. You guys could play at home. It would be a great game.
It's like a drinking game, maybe. I mean, it's almost like Groundhog Day. I feel like Bill Murray sometimes when I'm sitting here doing these shows.
Right. You know, every time that one of us says, oh, city staff brought the issue, you can...
That might be the free space. Just start with that.
Well, there we go.
City staff recommended this. Drink. All right. That shot of Yag over here.
Oh.
Tell you what, if we did play that, do you realize how wasted our audience would be? I mean, our audience would drunk for the next 4 days playing this, and then they'd play it again. They'd go back to the other 50 episodes and do that. I mean, that'd be like New Year's Eve. It'd be New Year's Eve party.
You might have to just to get through some of this stuff.
You know what? You got to make it fun. I mean, look, we're making light of this a little bit. I'm going to tell you something. Today's show, once again, is going to make you angry, and I'm just going to preface that. It's kind of like a disclaimer at the beginning of, watching Dr. Phil. This subject here is going to be about, certain things that all ears might not want to hear. So if you got anger issues or, you're, whatever, the wife's making you sleep on the couch, you might not want to listen to this. Now, we appreciate our audience.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, I'm laughing because of the things I'm thinking we're going to say here. And I'm trying to think of a silver lining to what we're talking about. And there just isn't going to be one. It's just, I got angry researching this.
So we're off to a good start.
I was ticked off all day. I was ticked off last night. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. It's just not going to be a friendly thing to discuss. And there's going to be some cities and mayors, some of whom I know, who are probably not going to be too happy with us after. But, the hell with you. I don't care if you're not going to do the right things, and you can not like me all you want. Get in line. I mean, it's just,
It is a growing line, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. I don't understand it. I think even when I act like a horse's ass, I still think I'm kind of likable.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. You and I both. We got a growing list.
All right, now, do you want to break the subject to everybody? No.
Not yet.
Pitchers and catchers report in a few days.
Well, that's good.
Could lighten the mood.
Last week, I helped you get Spotify on your phone so that you could experience all these songs we quoted at the
and
beginning.
I still haven't done it, but
still
yeah, I
haven't done
could. But
Well,
yeah,
we'll work
there.
on that.
It's
We'll work on
there.
that. We're going to need a report from you so that people understand that this is good. I mean, for those of you that don't know and haven't listened to our past couple of episodes, and shame on
all
you.
4 of you who have.
You know, we created a Spotify playlist. We meaning I. That's the royal we, because Andrew's still getting it locked down over there, but he will.
Yeah, it doesn't show up on my Walkman.
Yeah. Our podcast is available on Spotify, but also a playlist called Community Solutions Songs from the Podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
You were saying
My
what now?
goodness. It's like being in, I don't know.
I'm the brother on Wonder Years. That's what I am right there. I'm
Right.
Wayne.
So we created this. The songs that get quoted at the beginning of every episode that have to do with the upcoming episode. A lot of people don't know what they are. Now you can listen to it. Or if you just want hours worth of killer rock and roll music, there it is in a playlist. Just search Community Solutions and choose Community Solutions songs from the podcast playlist. Andrew will give us a report, I'm sure, by next week.
No question.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing?
Yeah.
Just one more thing real quick.
Okay.
When you do tell me what song it's from, because I've only guessed right once.
Right.
The Beatles. That was the only one I got right. Even that one was multiple choice. I think I sit there and I go, oh, like when we did the Billy Joel one, and then I was like, oh, he sings that. Oh, does he? It's like I know the songs, I just don't know who sings all of them.
Right.
Some of this I lived through. I mean, some
Well,
of these...
and this is the great thing. I mean, I'm kind of like a human jukebox. So you'll get some stuff that maybe you've heard that you forgot about, some new stuff you've never heard before, some great old favorites, and we want to put these people on because I mean, as a musician, I mean, this is my language.
Yeah, and honestly, folks, the playlist is better than any radio station you're going to find.
That's true.
You want to listen to the same 50 things over and over, okay?
Oh, you won't have that here.
You will not have no doubt about it. You have any idea when we retire, which we probably never will, the playlist we're going to have at the end of that. You talk about the history of rock and roll. Okay,
that might be it.
It's going to be tremendous. But again, not just your typical things that you always hear.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah. There's no Freebird. Not yet. Not yet. I can't guarantee that'll always be the case. But we'll do our best to give you something that's worth listening to for sure. Because, I love music. And it just gives us another way to come together as conservatives, as people interested in local politics, as people who want to make their communities better. It just gives us another facet to coalesce behind. So there you go.
Here.
All right. I think we've stalled about as long as we can. We have before done a podcast on the League of Minnesota Cities, as I like to refer to them.
Unfortunately for all of us.
Right, the League. That is an organization that collects dues from their member cities. All but 3 cities in Minnesota are part of the League of Minnesota Cities, and it is an organization that does lobbying and legal work for cities, but it also promotes certain policies and agendas, and I would say it probably does a lot more harm than it does good. Because it teaches cities to push forward a lot of the things that we fight against, things like Minnesota Green Step Cities.
Well, it's the one size fits all stuff,
right?
Why you need sidewalks? Why?
Yeah.
Well, because this city has complete streets, and which we did a couple episodes back.
Right.
That's why. Oh well, we don't want them.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. This is the trend. This is what we're doing now, and That's the kind of stuff the league peddles, and I really think that the main reason people are part of the League of Minnesota Cities is the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think cities need to pool together and get their own, and they can junk the stupid league or the minor league or the league of their own or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are kind of hog chained to
Yeah.
it. But, I mean, that's where the outside-the-box thinking has
Right.
to come in and say, look, we're paying them $20,000 a year. Is that the best price for insurance?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I mean, in case they get sued. And if cities banded together, especially larger cities, and did their own thing, I wonder what would happen with that.
Exactly. I think that there are different ways to skin that cat without, going the route that, hey, we offer this great service and then we brainwash everybody into doing this. It's like,
Yeah, if they were just doing insurance or they were just, what I think they were originally intended to be.
Yeah.
Which is just sort of a voice of cities, not a lobbying group or a policy maker.
Right.
That would be something different. But
I came to the store to buy milk and I left with 10 pounds of donuts and I'm going to just clog my arteries. That's the kind of deal that the league is. It's
don't forget the fried foods too. They give it all to you.
They do. But they're not the only group. You'd think one group like that is enough. No, there are multiple groups where you pay in dues, and those dues are that's taxpayer money leaving your city that you pay in property taxes and going to this lobbying group that is pushing an agenda that more than likely you don't agree with.
Or even know of.
Or know of for certain, and school districts have a group like that. Townships have a group like that. Metro cities have a group all their own.
School districts have a few.
Yeah.
There's the Minnesota School Boards Association. There's there's one for the Twin Cities. There's one for Greater Minnesota. Most districts are part of two.
Yeah.
Robbinsdale. I know Robbinsdale, for example, is part of the coalition of cities here in, I can't remember what it's called, the association that is in the metro, and then they're part of the School Boards Association, which is two. So that's two different groups.
Right.
And you have the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, which is very, very partisan.
We've talked about that on this podcast.
Yeah, you've got the Association of Minnesota Counties and the Association of Metropolitan Municipalities.
Yes.
Which is often called Metro Cities. That's kind of their short acronym. Along with the League of Minnesota Cities, which about half the cities in the Twin Cities belong to. But that's not all.
But that's not all. So
it's like a Whitman sampler. Okay, it never ends.
You might have a city that belongs to the League of Minnesota Cities, the Association of Minnesota Townships, or Metropolitan Townships, rather.
Metropolitan Municipalities. Townships have their own too.
There's so many. My goodness. So they might belong to
those two,
the League of the Minnesota Cities and Metro Municipalities. And they could also belong to the group that we're going to talk about today, North Metro Mayors.
Hey, not to mention these cities, New Hope. That might be our favorite whipping boy lately. But you got to give them credit. They've earned it.
Yes.
Okay. So, North Metro Mayors Association, NMMA, is the acronym. Now, that could sound... Now, I can think of some other things to... when it comes to NMMA, what that could mean, but I'll just keep that to myself.
Okay. If you're following along at home, you can look at northmetromayors.org.
Yeah, like a baseball game. If you're scoring at home, go to that website. You can. I mean, look, we're going to tell you what's put out there and what's not out there.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of, and there's some things I'm still confused on. And I'm going to, you and I haven't done a lot of talking about this episode like we sometimes do.
Right.
Because I got some things, and I told you before we went on the air that I want to get your honest reaction to some of these things.
We'll see. We'll see. You already promised like loads of anger, so we'll see how this goes over.
There's going to be loads of it. Now, there are 14 cities that are a part of this, in no particular order. If you live in one of these cities, look, there's over 500,000 people who live in these 14 cities, by the way. So it's a large chunk.
Now, let me also say, if you don't live in one of these 14 cities, you might live in a North Metro city that could potentially become one someday, so you need to know about this. There may be other organizations that are like this in your part of the cities or your part of the state. We're just hitting this one today.
Yes.
So and if there's not, you still need to be aware because someday they may try to form one.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it too. I'll name the 14 cities. I'm sure you know somebody who lives there, have a relative there, blah blah blah. Okay, again, in no particular order:
Okay.
Andover, Coon Rapids, Anoka, New Brighton, Blaine, No Hope, Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, Maple Grove, Mounds View, Champlain, as my nephew says, Ramsey, Spring Lake Park, and Circle Pines. So that's Santa's naughty list there of the 14 cities involved. Now, in addition, as with a lot of these coalitions or whatever you want to call them, it is the deadly partnership
Yes.
with big business that makes it particularly dangerous.
Right. Now, they have a number of community partners, but they also have one organization that is an associate member. Now, I don't know what the difference is because they don't really spell it out.
That will be a common theme, by the way,
Yeah.
that you'll see.
I mean, what they did say is, that member cities and associate members, NMMA is supported by area businesses enrolled as community partners and others who help sponsor various association activities. The one associate member that they have is the National Sports Center in Blaine. So they belong as their own separate entity, not as part of Blaine, and not as a community partner. So what they do say is that these businesses enrolled as community partners support NMMA in addition to the member cities and the associate member, even though they say members on the website. So who are some of these community partners?
Oh boy.
I think that's important to lay out there as well.
Well, just for a little example, some of the people who are a part of this, Comcast, Xcel Energy,
Yeah.
Alina Health,
Ooh.
Maple Grove Hospital,
Ooh.
Northeast Bank, Crestview, that is a company that builds senior buildings. I didn't know that. I had to figure that out on my own. SRF Consulting, I'm not really sure who they are.
Okay. I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's some sort of public relations type thing.
Okay.
And then Abrams and Schmidt, that is a law firm that is out there also. I did not research who they were, didn't care. I was too angry by then to do it. So-
Yeah, SRF is a full service consulting firm with engineering, planning, and design services.
So they must be the people who do the lead building planning or something.
That's why I've seen their name pop up before. That I knew that I had recognized it, and yeah. Did you have other ones that you wanted to add to that as well?
Well, there's a few more. Those are the big ones.
CenterPoint Energy is also.
Oh, I didn't even write that down.
Yeah.
Another just like Excel. They're another
Yeah.
place with a monopoly.
Running Aces Casino and Racetrack.
You're kidding.
No.
Now, that's not even there. That's in Forest Lake. Isn't
Columbus.
it? Okay, so they're not in a member city.
No.
What is innovative? By the way, before you answer that,
I don't know what it
they've
is.
got different levels of people.
Yes, they do.
Oh, Financial One. I had that written down. I skipped over it. That's a credit union. They have gold members. They have silver members. I wonder what you have to do to get something like that. Platinum and Emerald. Emerald City. We got Emerald City on there.
Yeah, well, somebody's acting like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain here, I'll tell you what.
I don't know who it is, but I'm sure there's a puppet master everywhere. So that's some of the. I mean, these are gazillion-dollar businesses here that are.
Paying dues to
I again, we'll get into this. I don't know what they're doing.
right.
So,
Well, it says they support the organization. I would assume that means financially.
I'm not sure what it means.
Okay.
They might lend their name to get favors from these groups too. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things that they credit themselves with accomplishing, by the way, is the permitting process for Maple Grove Hospital. And just naturally, Maple Grove Hospital is one of their little partners here. So
Yeah.
I don't know that they're paying this group or they're getting special treatment, kind of like what we talked about in the episode we did about TIF and how certain businesses are being subsidized. I don't know if it's that. We talked about Target being
Right.
a part of the Botno partnership and being getting. I'm not sure they're quote getting money, but they're definitely getting breaks from Brooklyn Park. It might be a little quid pro quo.
Huh.
So, I mean, those are some monster things. You've got the governments of 500,000 people, along with major. Of course, there's no small businesses. Of course,
Right.
the hell with them. I mean, these people will all give lip service to small business, but when it comes down to it, they won't. They won't do a damn thing for
Right.
them other than put franchise fees on them and tell them, I'm sorry, we just can't can't control our spending.
Well, and like with the League of Minnesota Cities, we have always said that tax money goes to the league. They go to St. Paul and try to secure funding, secure more tax money
Right.
to do other projects. I mean, like here, for North Metro Mayors, they secured funding for the reconstruction of Highway 100, secured funding for the Champlain-Anoka Bridge reconstruction, secured funding for the I-694 third lane from Brooklyn Park to New Brighton, secured funding for the I-694 third lane from Brooklyn Park West through Maple Grove,
But they should take credit for a lot.
secured funding for the construction of the 610 bridge. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole list of stuff that they're taking credit for here.
They got one more partner too.
Yeah.
The Tiller Corporation.
Yeah.
They are a construction company, sand and gravel.
Oh,
I wonder how many contracts they got to do work around there.
well, that would be
I know they're headquartered in Maple Grove,
I
which
wonder.
happens to be a member.
Yeah. Well, I suppose. I mean, well, and I'm trying to think about how this lays out. I mean, if you're in the North Metro, being a part of the North Metro Mayors Association maybe would be more, would you have a company from the South Metro? I suppose if they did lots of business in the North, you would.
Here's the thing:
Yeah.
competitive bidding, not showing favoritism. That's what I care about. This company wants to go build asphalt. It's their deal.
Yeah.
But I do question. And I guess because this website sucks and has nothing there to verify or deny this.
Right.
Because we're going to get into the makeup and the alleged financing of this, if you can call it that, on this website. Nobody knows what. I mean, let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
Look at everything the stuff we did for the show about subsidizing businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That information is right there.
Yeah.
And just does not get out. I don't know what it is, but nobody's angry. Nobody goes to City Hall and complains. What do you want to bet that this company is? And look, I'm not disparaging the people who work there or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to bet they're all over every project in this area? Now, these cities don't always get to decide that. MnDOT does a lot of work like this.
Right.
But, what do you want to bet when, Financial One needs a resurfacing? They go to their buddies at the Tiller Corporation and
Right.
get it. I mean, it's a way to join a club and get preferential treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, otherwise, what's in it for them? I mean, I don't get what would be in it for them if it wasn't more business or no bid business. What else would they be doing in there?
I don't know.
And of course, CenterPoint and Excel, they're government-run monopolies. Well, they can
Right.
join anything they want to. It's their job to get in bed with these folks.
Right.
So, I mean, what's in it for them to not do it? Now, okay, maybe you're not angry yet, but I'm going to turn it up a notch.
Okay.
Okay, they have two different sets of, I don't know how to put it. They have a board of directors, okay, and they have an operating committee. They do not describe either. Now,
Okay.
Jay, based on our experience, I can guess what the two of them do.
Okay.
Now, the board of directors, which meets 6 times a year, is made up of the mayor and city manager, administrator, whatever you want to call them, of all 14 cities.
Ah.
So that's their board of directors, 28 people. Their operating committee meets 5 times a year. That is just the city managers. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what they do. I'm going to take a stab, though, at what they do. And, of course, these meetings are not on video. The minutes suck. They don't describe much. It's written out kind of weird. I've seen 15-minute city council meetings with 6 pages of description. These hardly have anything. I mean, they're almost not worth reading. If you're playing along at home, you can go to, I believe it's under news and updates, and that will have the updates, and it only goes back to April 3rd, 2017. There's nothing prior to that. And this is an organization that's been here since 1987. So it's not something that was just developed last week. My guess is, if I had to guess, the board of directors makes policy. The operating committee handles the money.
That could be.
If I had to guess at what they do, that's my guess. Now, when you talk about them making policy, there's no record of any vote taking place. I don't know what cities are for funding this bridge and what cities aren't. So there's not really a. They put together a work plan every year that I'm guessing comes from the board of directors.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
operating would signal budget to me.
Yeah, I think that the budget is tied in with that. I think the board of directors probably oversees the larger vision of the group, and here's
Right, but half the people on the operating committee are on the board of directors.
right.
So it's not really two separate things. It's more one meeting, the mayors are there. The next meeting, the mayors aren't there.
So you're
Who's
getting
really running things?
the city managers,
Right.
just like in any city.
So basically, this is a coalition of city managers. If you really want to think of it that way, it's a coalition of government bureaucrats.
They get the buy-in of the mayors who are on the board of directors, and then they go and they do their thing as an operating committee.
Or the
Yeah.
other way around. The operating committee might go to the board of directors.
Yeah, well, they probably do go sell their vision to the board of directors to get the buy-in.
And that's just it. Who's coming up with this? Who's against it? Who's in favor of it? What are the arguments pro and con?
Well, it
You
would
have
be
no
nice
clue.
if they told us, yeah.
Nice if they told us. It'd be nice if they attempted to. Now,
Yes.
you might think to yourself, okay, well, what can this group do here? I mean, what can this group do? Well, you listed their accomplishments. I'm going to tell you what they are advocating for right now. Because they like I said, they passed this thing. Again, I have no idea who does it. Your guess is as good as mine. called an annual work plan, and they have not done anything for 2018. But in 2017, they had about 40 different things that they were pushing for. And most of it is get funding, get free money, which is, of course, your tax. Again, it's taking your tax dollars and lobbying to get more tax dollars.
Yeah.
But listen to this. Support efforts to build a Highway 65 coalition.
Huh.
So we've already got a city. We've
Yep.
already got a league. We've already got the metro cities. We've already got the mayor's association. They want another coalition on top of that.
Well, this group has already two coalitions, the I-35W coalition and the 610 coalition, so they want to add.
True. I don't know if they're
Highway 65
active anymore because 610 is now completed. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they are doing anything. And, of course, they do a great job explaining who they were and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like there's a paragraph. And by paragraph, I mean like, what, two sentences?
Yeah, something like that. Half a paragraph.
Yeah.
Transportation funding. Gotta love this. Work with the Minnesota Department of Transportation, translation MnDOT, legislative leadership and transportation committees, governor's administration, metropolitan council, Minnesota Transportation Alliance, and key congressional members to secure increased transportation funding. That's a lot of groups to work with.
Yeah, that is.
Now, here's how I translate that. We want a gas tax hike. I don't know why they just don't say that. They're not going to get free money from anybody. It's all taxpayer dough. They want new money. I mean, that's how I see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just read that as a translation. We want a gas tax increase. 5 words could replace all that BS, right? Barbara Streisand could replace all of that.
Well, and they do go on to say this. If you look at their mission, they do talk about equitable distribution of quality development and redevelopment, shared tax resources, and uniform investment in both public and private facilities throughout the metropolitan area, and that they believe that they're recognized as the voice for issues impacting the North Metro area at the federal, state, and regional levels of government. And
Who appointed them that?
Well, they did.
Okay.
And they want to focus. Their focus has grown from transportation and economic development issues to include housing and various other initiatives, i.e., local government aid, fiscal disparities, pollution
Same
abatement,
thing.
tax reform. Yeah.
Right. Which, and then you can add to it here a few other things. This is where it gets, first let me throw one more thing out here.
Okay.
Assist Blaine to secure funding, I assume from the state, to reconstruct 105th Avenue going through the National Sports Center. Oh, who did you just say is one of their community partners?
Yeah.
The National Sports Center. Oh, zippity-doo-dah, no quid pro quo.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, here is where it gets, okay. I got the knife stabbed like halfway in you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to jab it in hard.
Oh, good. That's great. Thank you for that.
Fiscal policy. You already mentioned comprehensive tax reform. Of course, they don't say what they want, but
Right.
it's probably just throwing money at it. But listen to this. Support and advocate for TIF legislation, tax increment financing, sought by member cities and for support of TIF as a tool to promote economic development, i.e., unrestricted TIF is what they want. Now, again, they don't say that.
Right.
But state statute, I can't remember where this is, but there are limits on debt that a city can carry.
Right.
I think it's statute 476-ish. Don't look that up. I don't want to be wrong.
All right.
You people scoring at home, you could put that on the bingo board, TIF, but don't look that up. I could be wrong there. Because technically deficits involve everything from general obligation bonds. There's a limit to how many TIF districts you can have before you have to pay one back. So, but they're asking for unlimited. That's how I read that. Advocate for TIF. Encourage tax increment financing. Okay?
Huh.
Continue to join with other county and city organizations opposing a reverse referendum. Now, that's dangerous.
Yeah, that is.
Now, to say what a reverse referendum means is that under state statute, and charter cities it might vary because they're not married to all the state statutes the way a statutory city is.
Right.
And someday you and I will break that down, but we're not going to right here. Basically, a reverse referendum is a way for cities to put a bonding issue on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
They can stop that from happening, a large bond. And this organization wants to get rid of that ability.
Yeah.
So whatever cities use for TIF, whatever they bond, whoever they give your money to, they want to make sure you have no mechanism to stop it. And don't tell me elections will do that. No. Once the TIF goes through, once the bonds go out for sale, you can't change that by electing new people.
Right.
You can stop that policy in the future, but you can't go back 2 years and go, "Oh, we're gonna call in all the." No, you can't do that. Nobody will ever invest in munis in your city again.
Right.
Because they're not going to make their money back because the bonds won't mature. There'll be no yield. Okay? Now, here's one. Oh boy. This makes me madder than a dog in a barrel full of fleas. Oppose legislative efforts to restrict use of or add a reverse referendum process to gas and electric franchise fees. Translation, we want all of you to adopt franchise fees now.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at member cities. Champlin has franchise fees. Brooklyn Park does. New Hope does. I don't know about all. I was too pissed off to look at all of these. I don't know if I'm sure most of them do.
Mm-hmm.
But those three I know do. So they're advocating. Now again, they you can tell they've had a public relations person or a lawyer or some smart ass look this over,
Right.
and put it into nice sounding words. Now, we're giving you what they really mean. So just think, okay, this is what they're advocating for. Gas tax increase, franchise fees for everybody, bonding authority, unrestricted, along with TIF, and no ability to reverse referendum. No ability for citizens to stop this whatsoever. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Now, that's bad. I'm going to continue.
Oh, great.
And then what's going to get, okay, folks, I'm going to say one thing right here. It's going to get worse. Okay? Here is their big Met Council reform idea.
Oh, boy. I can't wait.
Support legislation for staggered terms on the Metropolitan Council.
Oh,
wow.
what?
Oh, boy, you've reformed that. You tell Gail Dorfman she's got to wait 2 years to get her $100,000 a year cushy job. What the hell's she going to do?
I thought we had to get rid of it. We just have to stagger the terms.
Stagger the terms.
Wow.
Keep the same people there, the same policies, same governor appointing them.
Yeah.
But stagger them terms, man.
Yeah. I'm going to appoint you all here, and 2 years from now, I'm going to appoint you all. The same guy, same gal, the same governor is going to appoint. It's just dumb.
I wonder how long it took them to come up with that whopper.
Oh, my word.
Okay. So here's another big idea. Met Council. I shouldn't laugh because this is not funny. Support efforts to provide elected city officials significant participation in nominating Metropolitan Council board members.
Oh.
So we want a committee to assist the governor in electing. No, it's not electing. It's nominating.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? They've got to pass the North Metro Mayors Association test. That's the new litmus test, the Ginsburg rule, before they get nominated.
I guess so.
Who came up with that?
Oh,
I don't even want to
read.
read. I don't want to read the rest of it. The hell with it. You can go to Annual Work Plan 2017 Legislative Action Plan on that website on northmetromayors.org if you want to read this garbage. But there's and here's I got to read one more. Support legislation creating early voting opportunities that create administrative and financial efficiencies for local government. Can you tell me how early voting is financially efficient?
It's not.
I mean, if you have to keep the polls open for a week, aren't you paying the election judges? Aren't you? I mean, how is that financially efficient?
It's not. I mean, all of that costs extra money.
Well, and the earlier somebody votes, I mean, people can vote 45 days before the election.
Yeah.
And just think, that is only 6 weeks after a primary here in Minnesota.
Right.
How much earlier can they vote? It's almost ridiculous. People, look, here in Minnesota, people file for office at the end of May. I know because I've done it.
Yeah.
And early voting starts right around like the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
You got 1 month.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
for
crazy.
primary.
Yeah.
Because the primary would be the second Tuesday. I mean, you got no time. How much earlier can these people vote?
Yeah. I mean, how many of you would decide after 6 weeks, I could spend the next 4 years with this person, and you can't get out of it?
Well,
None of you.
And in the lower nonpartisan elections is where that's even more important.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not so much, a lot of people have their minds made up when it comes to president or something like that. But when it comes to these nonpartisan elections, people don't even have their yard signs out by July 4th.
Yeah.
And people are already voting. That's pretty brutal. I mean,
it is.
I don't know. I don't know what we can do. I mean, outside of knocking on your door and giving you a ride to the polls, which is very close to your house, especially if you're in the North Metro, you don't have to go very far.
That's true.
So I don't. It just it's not like anybody's driving 25 miles to the poll. Like you might be, if you live out in northern Minnesota.
Right.
So I'm baffled by that one. But I'm tired of it. I don't want to read any more about their legislative stuff. We got stuff to make people angrier. Okay?
And why not? Why shouldn't we just go for the jugular and just
Okay. Let me here's another thing.
Okay.
You want to talk about transparency?
Yes, I would like to talk about transparency, but I have a feeling we're not going to talk about transparency. We're going to talk about the lack of transparency.
Lack of is a much better term. This group, I don't know what they're defined as. Minnesota has a list. Let me give you the website here.
They're taking public and private money.
We think. I don't know.
I mean, I would assume so.
I would guess.
I would assume that everybody that's a part of the organization has to pay dues. That would make sense. We know the cities pay dues.
Okay.
That much we know.
Right. But local government associations in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm getting this, mn.gov. I'm getting this from them. The North Metro Mayors Association is not listed there.
What? They're not listed under the local government associations.
No, they're not. Let me tell you who's, Jay, hold on. The Metro Cities is here, Minnesota Counties, Greater Minnesota League of Cities, Township Association, blah, blah, blah. They are all listed here. The North Metro Mayors Association is not.
Now, how is that possible?
Okay, hold on a second,
okay.
because I'm going to get into a little further. Here's another lack of transparency. They talk on their website about having a joint powers agreement. Now, I'm curious. I have never heard of that from somebody who was typically a joint powers agreement is between, say, a city and a county. You got a small town.
Right.
They don't have their own police force, so they get together with the sheriff's office and work that out. They work out a joint powers agreement.
Right.
A city might do that with a township.
A city might do it with a city.
Yeah, they absolutely can. County might do it with a county.
A watershed organization. Yeah.
the fire department
Right.
between two cities. So they talk about having a joint powers agreement. I cannot find any record of what that joint powers agreement is. And if they aren't providing a service like that, how do they qualify as joint powers? Because the way joint powers are often set up is that the city councils govern.
Right.
Like if you've got, we'll do an example, West Metro Fire Department.
Right.
The board hires the fire chief, blah, 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 blah. However, they answer to the city councils.
They have to put their budget forth to the city councils,
and
that
that has
under.
to be approved along with everything else. So the city council is really the boss of the joint powers agreement.
Right.
It's a separate entity, but they answer to the elected officials. Now you tell me, how does this group qualify as a joint powers agreement?
Yeah.
What is the joint powers?
Yeah. What are the powers that?
But they talk on their website about amending their joint powers agreement, and I have no idea. I looked and looked and looked for this damn thing, and I cannot find it.
That's amazing.
So I don't know what their joint powers agreement is. So they aren't set up as a 501c3 or an NGO, whatever you want to call that. I don't know how they are set up. Now, a joint powers agreement tells me they're doing more than lobbying.
Right. Then I'm just looking here. This is the 2016 overview of. Let me see what page I'm on so I can find this again. I want to tell everybody exactly what it is. It's from the state officers or state auditor's office.
Okay, I got to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
This is where it gets tricky again.
I know. I'm not going to go into the numbers. We'll get there. This it's just called the Local Government Lobbying Services Report.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it does list let me get back down to that page. It does list the North Metro Mayors Association.
$130,696.
Right, but it does list it as one of the regional or local lobbying groups. Local Government Association is what it's listed at, which we just said that it's not listed on that other page that you looked at.
mn.gov, no. And let me point something out. You got to love our auditor's office. You got to love that snowflake who runs that auditor's office. Miss Atto. You got to love this. There is nothing on that auditor's page that breaks down dues or anything since 2003. I can't find anything that breaks that down since who had been the auditor then? Pat, was she the auditor then?
Maybe. Yeah.
Pat Anderson. There's nothing there that breaks that down. I thought you could go there, you'd get the info maybe that they don't have. I can't find a thing on there.
Wow.
So there's nothing at the auditor's office. You got to love the job they're doing. I don't know what they do. Right? I to this day. And by the way, you mentioned that they're on that list. You only get on that list if you lobby for $100,000.
Yeah, $100,000 or more. There are 1, 2, 3,
About
4,
a dozen,
5,
maybe?
6, 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 12. There are 26 local government associations in Minnesota. 26. And there are 12 of them on this list that spent over $100,000. These 12 associations accounted for $3.5 million plus, or 85% of the total lobbying expenditures in 2016.
Here's my question. Why don't they just take that $3.5 million and build everything that they're complaining about?
They might be
if they've got the money to lobby with $3.5 million,
yeah.
How do they make the case they need local government aid?
I don't know. I mean, we've talked about the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities.
Yeah.
I mean, $904,232.
Well, think of all those cities paying dues, Jay.
Yeah.
You probably have 400 of them, 500.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, there are some smaller cities, a lot of smaller cities.
A ton.
But I mean, League of Minnesota Cities, which has every city but 3, only paid out $656,010 in lobbying costs.
Well, and I wonder what's considered lobbying. I mean, are you lobbying just the legislature?
And
But I mean, these groups lobby counties.
Yeah.
They lobby the feds.
they do.
They
Yeah,
lobby the
it
Met
says that.
Council.
Yeah.
Mado, I assume they
Yep.
lobby too.
Of course they do, and probably the smaller groups like the Arrowhead Regional Development Organization.
MAC.
Yeah,
I mean, where does it end?
it doesn't. That's the problem. And I also wonder if they can commingle money. I mean, because a lot of these organizations have the same goals, the same policies. Can the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities and the League of Minnesota Cities split the cost to lobby the government?
I'm sure they can.
It even grows from there because we don't know then on one issue how much was spent to lobby. So your North Metro Mayors Association may only pay a fraction of that, but they could go in with, the Association of Minnesota Counties, and they could, who also spent over $193,000 themselves, to be able to lobby for the same thing.
I would imagine so. I mean, if you look at their agendas and policies, you don't find a whole lot of differences.
Right.
So they're probably all saying the same thing to a certain extent. And, and you're right, too. It doesn't break it down by legislation. We don't know where they, what bill that they're pushing. I mean, that could all be on 10 bills for we know.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. I mean, to be lobbying. And I'm curious, what is this lobbying money spent on? I mean, by the way, North Metro Mayors Association, they have an office at the legislature.
Huh.
They have an office in St. Paul.
Wow.
So, I mean, is that office a lobbying expense? Probably.
Yeah, I suppose it
I
would
mean,
be.
I know that
that's not
Education
cheap.
Minnesota has one. League of Minnesota Cities has one. A lot of these outside groups. I mean, they are a permanent fixture in St. Paul.
Right.
So yeah, I don't even understand how this organization is set up. They don't say so. They have to have some sort of, whether it's a 501c3 or whatever, they have to have some sort of structure to them, particularly if they're taking public-private money. I mean, would the government accept that on my taxes if I didn't know where I was getting my money from?
Right.
Would the IRS accept that?
I just lucked into it.
Oh, yeah. I got,
found some here, found some under the cushion in
yeah,
my
I
couch.
got my neighbors all gave me dues payments. I mean, well, it's pretty non-transparent. We're going to stick to that. You keep monkeying around on the computer. We're going to give you some other non-transparent stuff. Let me review what this website and does not have, and what I cannot find anywhere.
Yeah.
I find no budget, no list of member dues, no comprehensive annual financial report. Now, they've got it. They've got to have a record of it somewhere. If you and I need a record for Community Solutions, they need a record for what they're doing.
Well, just any organization. I mean, you want to keep books.
I would assume
there's
so.
got to be something somewhere.
There's no video of what they're doing or talking about. Right. There's no transparency as to who's making this agenda, who supports it, who's against it. There are very limited minutes. There are no minutes prior to April of 2017. And they actually, I did find a work schedule, though.
Oh.
There is a work schedule.
So they work. That's good.
Well, they meet. I don't know if they work when they meet. So there is an annual plan or something for 2018. The next operating committee meeting, and I know you're all boiling over with excitement. And here's another thing. It is February 21st. I don't know what day of the week, the Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's at 11:30 in the morning.
Oh,
where everybody can attend.
Everybody can come.
Over at Coon Rapids City Hall. They also have a day at the Capitol. That would be March 7th. And there's no description, map unavailable. There's no information on it at all.
Maybe you could take $50 of those dues and put it toward a web developer.
The
Data entry
Yeah, the board of
specialist.
directors actually meets at night. I don't see a meeting here till May 16th. 5:30 at the Maple Grove Government Center. See, the mayors attend that, and they probably have real jobs.
Right, a lot of them do.
Yeah, so the city managers just go to their operating committee meetings.
Right.
And there's, I'm looking at the one on February 21st. There's no agenda. There's operating committee meeting, Coon Rapids,
Yeah.
11:30 a.m.
Okay.
There's no attendance figures, who was there, who wasn't. So that's the North Metro mayor. How pissed off are all of you now?
Yeah.
Pretty angry.
I would assume so.
I mean,
I'm not happy.
I mean, these people are supposedly speaking in the names of these cities.
Yeah. And one of them is elected to, and the other is not. The other one is hired by the people you elected to do what the city council says.
Right.
But that doesn't usually work out that way. Does it?
Almost never works out that way. You don't get to see who's proposing this stuff or, anything. I mean, it is, it's a pretty big mess, folks.
It is. And, we talk about here how transparency is so important. And we've harped on that. And that's something that has been kind of a cornerstone, a bedrock, if you will, of what they've accomplished in Crystal, with the people that we've helped get where they are to the degree that we have. But you know what? It's glaring in our face how poorly transparency is appreciated across the state. And whether it's a big professional organization like this, or whether it's sometimes a city website where we can't find CAFR information or budget information, we can't find comp plans,
and you're not going to get an assist from the auditor's office.
No.
I mean, they're supposed to publish all that stuff, and that website is not easy to navigate.
No, it's not.
It's just terrible.
Uh,
But yes, there are cities where you really have to hunt to find this info, and it shouldn't be that hard.
No, this is stuff that I think anybody should have access to. I mean, you're looking at mixing. It seems like mixing public and private money, and we have no record of where our our public money is going. I mean, I understand as a corporation, you want your shareholders to be able to know financially what's going on, but maybe not everybody.
Maybe
and that's
not.
okay.
Maybe not. But when you're Xcel Energy or CenterPoint,
right,
and you really have no. And I also think, if these people are going to get TIF money, or they're going to get some sort of special treatment here, I think then that's taxpayer money. If they're going to take taxpayer money, I want to know how much money they've contributed.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference between giving the money to a PAC or giving money to something like that? That has to be disclosed.
Yeah, I would like to know if somebody's benefiting. I mean, I suppose it's a lobbying organization. They're lobbying for their interests. They're welcome to do that. But again, we're mixing public and private money. We need to, I think, have some oversight as the public, some accountability. Is a construction company getting projects, getting money based on their involvement in the group?
I would imagine yes, because I don't know why else they'd be a part of this.
Right. And if that's the case, how does that work when you're mixing public and private money? Because then taxpayer money being commingled in with corporate profits. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about, just recently with public-private partnerships and all of that.
Going back to that episode, it's a powerful one. I tell you what, I'm going to just interrupt just for 1 second here. They also have a staff that I assume works full time. I assume. I mean, they have an executive director with an extensive background in strategic communications.
Yeah.
Actually used to work under Arnie Carlson. They have a VP for Public Affairs. Not sure who that person's worked for. They've got a community relations person.
Huh.
They've got the president of CRP Inc. I'm not sure who that is. It's the former mayor of New Brighton. They have a government relations consultant. And they have a government and media relations assistant. And this guy worked for Amy Klobuchar. So I'm sure he's... and he works for Ewald Consulting.
Yes.
So I don't know if they're on retainer or what. The vice president of public affairs also works for Ewald Consulting, and I don't know who the hell that is. Doesn't matter. But, I mean, they've got, again, I say this, folks, to give you an idea of what we're up against here. We're up against people who do this for a
Yeah.
I mean, this is no different than a bunch of city managers, having these titles. And,
Right.
I mean, government relations expert, public affairs person. Who do you think wrote some of this stuff?
Yeah, that's exactly where it comes from.
So we have not just a coalition of cities, but we also have them paying people to do this work as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the city managers full time working on this with a staff, with the mayors.
Yes.
The mayor's probably having the least say of anybody.
Yes. I would say that that's true. We didn't cover this, but in their community partners, I mean, it lists all the businesses. These are just at the different levels and I would assume, again, what level you're at is how much money you pay to be a part of the group. But it says in their fact sheet that there are all other community partners that we didn't list. Multiple chambers of commerce, schools, obviously schools they're gonna pay some dues. They're not gonna pay as much as Centerpoint Energy.
Well, it's nice to know that my tax dollars for books and
Yeah.
All that is going to
Makes you want to pay for another referendum.
So they're paying, the School Boards Association. They're paying franchise fees in some of these places, and then they're paying to be a partner with this.
Yeah. Yeah, of course it doesn't say which school districts, and it doesn't say which chambers of commerce. So, yeah. So who knows? Who really knows who's all wrapped up in this thing? It lists, I mean, that page may just be like their biggest donors.
They could be blustering, too. I mean, I don't know, but...
Yeah, again, I mean, a lack of transparency is going to breed questions like this, and it could be easily answered. It could be easily taken care of. All the conspiracy theories and the myths and the guessing at what's going on, it could all go away if you made it public. Imagine that. You put it out there, and we'd all know, and we wouldn't have to ask. We wouldn't have to guess.
Well, I don't know how they can get away with not making it public.
They are.
They clearly are.
And you and I both have run Google searches to try and find. And
You and I have spent 15 years doing this. If it was out there, we'd find it.
And just to go back, you said it's been since about 2002 that you've been able to find any dues information.
About 2003. And the
Oh,
last one that
2003,
I
yeah.
saw did not list it by city. It only listed a total of member dues.
Really?
It was not easy to find either. I can't even tell you how I found it.
Wow.
So I don't know and I remember this because when the Botno partnership was going on, I had to ask the city of Crystal for that list.
Yeah.
It was not on Botno's website.
Oh, no,
what
it was
Crystal paid was in their budget.
Right.
Of course, I know where to look and find it.
Yeah, so
a lot of
we'd
people
have to
don't.
go to all these cities and try to find it, probably in their comprehensive annual finance
And by the
report.
way, but that should be in their operating budget. Though.
Right.
But keep in mind, I don't believe they have to list them individually. I think they can list it all under lobbying services or dues, but I don't think that they have to actually break that down for what they're paying for each.
Right. Just going back, and I'm looking here at, this is a 2002 report from the state auditor's office. It says the city of, this is 2002. I mean, imagine inflation over time. Back in 2002.
Population growth.
Yeah. The city of Anoka, it says, paid total dues to the North Metro Mayors Association of $9,897.
10 grand.
10 grand almost, yeah. Now, you had some numbers on Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park, the last one I found information for was $33,000 that they paid, and I believe that was 2013. Now, like I said, I haven't delved through all these budgets or delved through all this. I just,
Same report, 2002. City of Champlin paid $11,693 in dues.
Yeah. So what would that be today?
Yeah.
Or I assume.
Yeah. A city of Dayton paid $2,347.
Really?
And that's a smaller.
They're not in it anymore.
No, they're not.
So I wonder what happened there. They weren't too happy with. And it's funny, they take credit for the Devil's Triangle, which is in Osseo. Osceo's not a member either.
No. And this is funny.
I guess it's on the Brooklyn Park border. Too.
City of Minneapolis paid $38,000. That's not much more than Brooklyn Park paid.
To the North Metro Mayors Association?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not in it either.
No, they're not. Which
Minneapolis
is
got out of something?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't. Well, yeah, they had to. They paid dues.
Maybe they created their own. I don't know.
the Minneapolis Mayor Association.
Would non-members pay dues for some reason?
Here's another one that got out. 2002, City of Oak Grove was actually a part of it. 2,347. Mark Corrin put an end to that pretty quickly, I would guess.
I would agree with that. They'd have to bury Mark at sea before they would give a
Spring Lake Park, which is still in it, $2,347.
So there's obviously a population window.
Yeah.
Because Spring Lake Park's much more of a smaller city too.
Yeah, it is.
And Oak Grove is a city that's grown since then.
Yeah.
Where some other cities like Brooklyn Center maybe haven't. So if they were still in it, I bet they'd be paying a whole lot more.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's just I guess a small look into what it was like in 2002. But
yeah, and it'd be nice if the auditor's office wasn't 15 years behind.
Well, I know. Yeah, and like you say, I don't think that. I think that we haven't had an auditor that's been interested in that in a long time.
I think we have an auditor that spent 12 years ripping off everybody. Shouldn't have gotten paid. Should have been paid in $7 bills.
Huh.
And just think that snowflake is running for governor.
Yeah.
Now, you might want to laugh, folks, but you can't laugh at some of the... I mean, you can't laugh at the thought that, I mean, we're post-caucus here.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of thoughts on that I'm not going to express. But, I am going to express.
Of course you are.
I
have at it.
Well, I mean, we'll just kind of go out with this because this is, we've angered people enough. But, we talked about the importance of caucus and all that. And then it seems like less and less people attend every single time. And I blame that. I don't blame that on voter enthusiasm so much. I think, again, there's a lack of understanding of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lack of, on the Republican side, I can tell you there's definitely a lack of enthusiasm for some of candidates in a certain race. There are races, the 2 Senate races, where there's kind of a main person running and not a strong second.
Right.
I mean, you've got Newberger running for Klobuchar's seat and Karen Housley running for, I guess we'll call
Tina
it the
Smith,
open
I
seat.
guess,
Yeah. But neither one of them right now have a big name challenger. I know there's some other people out there who are running or say they're running or whatever. I don't know how serious that is. And then, you look on what's the purpose of a caucus? And it's so misunderstood. So the caucus system, and you and I talked about how important it is for what we do, but I'm going to tell you it's on its last breath.
There's a strong faction of people in this state that want to get rid of it completely, and it is the biggest mistake that we could ever make.
And I'll say this. I don't know that caucusing and delegates is the best way to endorse a statewide candidate.
You know what? I think it could be. But hear me out why I think that. If we had an engaged population that understood the reason for a caucus, and it's to have a strong community, to organize at that level, and to have a strong community, you would have more people engaged. You wouldn't just have the activists coming out and supporting their candidate for governor, their candidate for president. You would actually have people, just regular people, coming out from the neighborhoods to get together in their communities. And you'd have, I think, a wider sampling of people that would go on to that process without a horse in the race. Right now, it's just people going with a horse in the race, and they're taking advantage of the system. I think that if people actually understood what the system was and participated based on what it's supposed to be.
True, but I think that's not going to happen because you have so many people who have circumvented the system. Take the governor as one.
Right.
Mark Dayton didn't participate in any convention. I don't even think he went.
Right. If you have people that go straight to the primary, you can't help
that.
But
I think that's going to increase, not decrease. I think especially as it's seen as successful, you're going to have it every single time. And if we're going to have a primary anyway, what is the point of endorsing somebody?
Yeah, well,
because here's what I don't want. This is what ticks me off. When the Republicans I'll pick on the Republicans, and I could say this about the DFL too, back in 2010, because you had Matt Intenza running. He skipped everything. You had Mark Dayton running, who skipped, and then you had the speaker, I can't think of her name, Anderson, I think was her name.
Anderson Kelleher, yeah.
Who went through everything, got the endorsement, and went on, and blah, blah, blah. Then in 2014, you had Jeff Johnson win the endorsement. Marty Seifert tried to get the endorsement and didn't get it.
Right.
Then you had Kurt Zellers and Scott Honor, who didn't participate at all.
Right.
The only thing that those two elections were about was who got the damn endorsement. There was not a debate about issues.
Right.
And so if a tactic is good, I want the campaigns not to be about who got what. But I want to pick and if we're going to go to a primary anyway, then it makes no sense to endorse anybody. And I'm glad I'm retired from being a delegate, which I was for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I'm so disillusioned with it. It's like, why are people spending all their campaign money to win over delegates when they know they've got to win a primary anyway?
Right.
So it's a waste of your. Look, I'm not saying the delegates are unimportant. I'm not saying the activists mean nothing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what is the point if we're just going to fight each other till August anyhow?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think in 10 years we're not going to have a caucus. Nobody's going to know what the hell a caucus is.
I hope that's not the case.
I do too, but
I don't know what we do as a party or any party, what they do for recruiting and
I'll propose an alternative.
Okay.
You caucus in your BPOU, but not for state and federal offices.
Who's going to go?
Well, the activists will still go. The people who want to serve in the BPOUs and the candidates who want to run. In those
I think it'll be less than the people who show up for a gubernatorial year caucus.
It could be. It could be. But again, if the point if the reason people are showing up is because their candidate's running for governor, yet, and that gets eliminated, or we're just going to go to a primary no matter what, then what becomes the point of the caucus? Now, in a perfect world, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But we all know that.
That's because my world is perfect.
Well, yeah, that too. But I just, I don't know. I think we're on the. I think it's on its deathbed, and I bet in 10 years we don't have it.
I hope not. I hope that we can change the way that we communicate about caucus, because I think it is a communication issue. And if we can get people to realize it's not about a stupid straw poll, then we have a shot, right? And then we don't need those things. We don't need to do the whole delegate alternate thing, and we can figure out a different way to do it.
You could do something different. You could have a Super Tuesday night with some sort of caucus alternative. I mean,
yeah.
I think maybe there's a way to mix the two, but I don't see the caucus surviving much longer.
Yeah.
And like I said, if everything's just going to go to a primary, the endorsement becomes pointless, and then the whole thing's about who got endorsed and who didn't.
Right.
And real issues aren't talked about.
No, but nobody wants to talk about real issues anyways. It's all about talking points.
I do.
Well, you and I do, and I tried to make this point with some people, some conservatives, and nobody wanted to even engage me on it because they know that I'm right about it. You know, they'll sit and fight all day about, primary versus caucus, but when you present what caucus really is supposed to be, nobody has an argument about it.
Yeah, but you're talking to the wrong audience.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, it's just, I don't know where we're going with this. And it's just a dilemma for me when I run for governor. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'll just say that straight out. So, I think I've seen it happen, too, where we just saw it happen, actually. Jeremy Munson's for Tony Koresh's seat down in Blue Earth County down there. I can't remember I don't remember their 23, what cities those are. I know it's in CD1.
Yeah.
But, he got challenged by somebody.
Right.
Who was actually being put up by a faction in the legislature. And the whole campaign was about who was endorsed. And that was the only thing talked about. And it's kind of like, how much of a disservice is that? It promotes division within the party.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the endorsement. Okay, maybe a better way to put it, I don't see the endorsement process surviving. Whether caucus does in some different form, whether the BPOU structure stays the way it is, but I can't see it surviving here. I mean, Andy Apolkowski and Jim Abler, when they ran for Senate District 35, the only thing talked about, especially on Andy's side, who I like, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I got endorsed. You didn't get endorsed. It wasn't, hey, I'm the better candidate, and here's why.
Right.
It was, well, how dare you run against me? Disservice to the voters. I'm sorry it is. So, there's your homework, folks. Fix that. 'Cause I'm lost.
But yet we still have to have a way to get to know the people in our community so we can recruit the best and the brightest to build a local bench. And that's the thing. You find the people, you get the people on the bench, the people with the name recognition and the track record and the resume that they've built at the local seats are the ones that are going to do well in the races for the statewide seats.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. It's just, how do you find those people if you don't have a way to congregate them all together?
Well, the only way to do it is you have to declare affiliation when you register to vote, which opens up another can of worms, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But, I mean, is the open system we have now where Democrats can vote in the I mean,
I don't know.
That's not a great system either, to me. I mean, to not know who's voting and anybody can, I've seen that used as a strategy. I mean, we saw it happen here in this district when Blair Tremere was taken to a primary from a guy who was unemployed.
Yeah.
How do you think that guy got 40 some odd percent of the vote? Wasn't from Republicans. That I can guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a faction trying to get that person on our ballot.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We can't solve all the world's problems.
Well,
in
we are
one day.
community solutions, which is why I think it's important. We talked about caucus in the previous episode, and now that we're post that, it's important to understand where we think we're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going in the toilet, and that's not saying that's what I want. I'm saying I think that's where it's headed.
Well, we shall see over time, I guess, and maybe we can come up with some solutions to make the system work a little better.
If I could bet on anybody to come up with solutions, I'd bet on us.
I would too. I like those odds. I think as far as episode 51 goes, that's about as far as we can take her. So,
North Metro Mayors Association, we love you.
Oh boy, do we!
Love you about as much as I like a rash in my armpit. Or a few other things I can't say on the radio.
Oh boy. Maybe something's going on in your area. Maybe you're in the North Metro and they're talking about building a bridge, building a road. Not that we're against bridges and roads. That stuff's important. But who's paying for it? How? Who's lobbying for the money? Who's, maybe you're outstate Minnesota and you're paying one of these other ridiculous organizations to go lobby for you with your own tax money. Maybe you're sick of it and you want to get a hold of us. Maybe you're in New Hope and you just got I don't know, the moon passed over Saturn and retrograde and you finally figured out that you need to run for something over there. Get a hold of us at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That's commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. Otherwise, we're all over social media as commsolutionsmn. Go get on our blog, share the podcast, all of it. It's all out there. It's all good. Makes you look good when you can provide your neighbors and your relatives and your friends with information that is going to make their hair stand on end, just like ours when we research this stuff. So, with that, I want to say thank you guys so much for being here every week, downloading the podcasts, listening to us, cheering us on, sending us photos of stuff to put on our Instagram account. I just uploaded the worst roundabout I have ever seen from the city of St. Paul. You'll have to go check that out. It looks like a cement truck had an accident in the middle of the road.
Really?
And,
I'll take a picture of that Mankato one next time I go down there.
All right, guys. That's it. We've held you up long enough. It's going to be another week, but we'll be back. I promise. We love you, Minnesota. Now it's your turn.